Hi, I'm Tony Buffin with Human Cloud, and I'm here at SIA's CollaborationX conference live in Dallas, Texas. And I'm here with Vardhan from Firstwork. And I'm so excited. We just met, but I'm really excited to learn a lot more about what Firstwork does. Let's start with the origin story of Firstwork.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tony. Excited to be here. It's a great conference. So as mentioned, hi, I'm Vardhan, co-founder, CEO of Firstwork. A little bit about us. We were, Y Combinator back, class of summer 24. More recently, raised a pretty healthy round from Google's AI fund Gradient.
Nice.
Prior to Firstwork, and I guess maybe why I started Firstwork was I'd spent a lot of time in industries that had, lots of high volume hiring. I was in logistics, delivery, did some stuff in maritime. And I saw just how broken the systems were at scale. Mm-hmm. My co-founder, CTO, he was one of the earlier engineers at Rippling. Spent time at Deal, so like deep understanding of the HR ecosystem. And I think, this was 2024. This was last year. We sat down and we thought, with the tools that exist today, like you can add so much value to some of these traditional legacy processes that really get in the way of a candidate getting a job, that really mess up companies, bottom lines and P&Ls, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's great. There is so much inefficiencies, waste that happens with all that background work that inhibits people from not only being creative, but doing the work that we love. Yep. And that's really getting the right talent on board, engaged with your company.
Yeah, I don't think, I'd bounce it back to you. I don't think many people signed up to TA to spend 20 plus hours, 30 hours a month filling out forms and double checking all sorts of compliance logs. And basically it's a sort of job where if you get everything right, nothing happens. If you get something wrong, you get fired. Right? Like that's our view. Is there's certain work that humans are phenomenally good at, and that is sitting down with talent, assessing what drives them, what motivates them, getting them ramped up. That stuff I think everyone enjoys, and that's what they get into the profession for. But I think there's other things that historically have actually just been outsourced that I think AI can now do in a way that is way more accurate, way more compliant, and I say more important than anything, way more timely. So a big thing that we focus on, the company name is Firstwork. The idea there is from first click on a job to first day at work, or I guess in the TA space, from rec to check. How do we crush that time to hire? And that is a metric that I sit down with the team with every morning. We sit down and we think about, from first principles, where are candidates falling through the funnel, and how do we get them back? How to get them engaged? How to keep them compliant? Happy to share more about that, but that's like a snapshot.
Yeah. Well, that's great. It's a great fit for this conference. Yep. This is your first time. What do you think so far? Like, what are you hearing? What are you learning from the folks you're able to collaborate with?
I'm loving it. I think it's a great space. I think really exciting, energizing discussions. I think to me, what's really cool is everyone is here to learn, but everyone here is also here to share. I think I'll be honest. As a founder who's spent a lot of time on, we're trying to build a great product. I'd say proud of the fact that we are AI first in a way that is exceptionally human centric. It is really fun and interesting to hear some of the companies that are purporting to pitch AI out there. And I think one of the things that we talked about is from the especially for the enterprise organizations that are here, there's often, and this is one of the big learnings, a lot of uncertainty around what is AI? How do I adapt it? How do I think about it?
I know you're sharing that. So there's all this talk around AI, but a lot of it's hype, or a lot of it's kind of window dressing, and you're trying to help people see through that.
A lot of it is window dressing. We've got one of the people we're speaking to. They're CHRO of a Fortune 10, Fortune 20 company. This was prior to this conference, and they had an amazing expression, which is they tried some AI. Everyone tried AI, right? Everyone's trying something a year ago, and actually this is close to 2 years ago, and they gave the expression which sticks with me, which is like, maybe, and this is tied to that MIT white paper that came out a few weeks ago. It's like, is it a case of first to market, worst to market? Like, is it the tools that we picked up 1 or 2 years ago are not ideal because those tools, those teams did not sit down, they did not think about change management, they did not align with stakeholders, they did not build workshops. But more than that, I think it's, they were not AI native. And so I got so frustrated, Tony, hearing people pitch tools that are not AI native, that are promising, 5% operational change after 2-year implementation timelines. I'm not going to name names. And so we ended up going out to Dallas, a day ago, and printing out this little cheat sheet.
Yeah, let me see
which
this.
basically, if you're an enterprise buyer and you are wondering, am I being sold AI or am I being sold, lipstick on a pig? This tells you what it is that you should keep an eye out for.
I like this. It's got AI wrapper red flags, and then real workflow AI capabilities.
There we go.
Yeah, what are you looking for, and what are you not looking for?
Yeah,
I
so
love that.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that sort of bleeds into another big point of our thesis, which
Yeah.
is, we feel that AI can do so much for companies in this space, but it needs to be built and deployed exceptionally intentionally.
Yeah.
Around, once again, those areas where you're seeing dropout, where you're seeing friction. When we approach organizations and we engage with them, it's highly consultative. We use forward deploy engineers. We sit down with their teams. We have, discrete agents that, we have an onboarding agent, we have a compliance agent, we have an AI caller, we have an AI interviewer, but there's no shortage of point solutions. I think what differentiates us is the way that we stitch those together in a way that helps not just offload a workflow, but make it supercharged.
Yeah.
As mentioned, the core metric that we have is time to hire. We're working with some of the bigger staffing companies out here, and we're seeing time to hire in some cases fall 80, 90%.
Wow.
Because what we're doing is, we're getting the candidate in the flow, and then if a candidate let's say you need 10 documents, and let's be conservative, 5% chance you upload the wrong document. Maybe it's expired, maybe it's blurry, maybe it's a picture of your dog. That's a cumulative 50% chance that there's an error.
Yeah.
That requires manual intervention. That's going to a offshore recruitment center. That takes 4 days to review, 4 days to come back and forth. Our system will check in real time as people upload documents, whether it is accurate. We will go out into the internet and check against databases, relational databases, government databases, to validate that as a candidate goes through the flow, everything is accurate and ready for submission.
Yeah, that's great.
If they drop out of the flow, we will have a caller ping them in 2 hours, 3 hours. Hey, we noticed that you're 80% of the way there. Do you need help? What were you stuck on? It's like, oh, I don't know how to fill out an I-9 document. It's like, great, we've got a voice agent that'll support you through that.
Oh, that's great.
So we are laser focused on just improving that candidate experience and getting them on the first day at work, because then everyone's a winner.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important to employer brands that there's this white glove experience for everybody, not just the ones you eventually hire, even for the ones that you don't.
Yeah.
And managing through all those potential error points makes it a lot easier for the humans in the loop to focus on the things that had the most impact on that experience.
And one of the craziest things that we didn't realize this was going to be as important as it was when we started doing it is, like, as mentioned, each of those touch points, because we're an AI first company, right? We've got to have data into, we've got to build visibility around. So we've got funnel metrics. And, for companies, for a lot of them, even if they're doing, thousands of hires a month even, oftentimes it's their first time seeing it broken down at that level of granularity, which is like, hey, I'm seeing 60% of people drop out at this stage. And this sub-stage and this tertiary stage, and suddenly they're like, hold on, maybe we're asking the wrong questions. Maybe we need to rewrite our scripts. So it's not just about, I think the first thing that gets people exciting is we go in and we bring in this architecture, but the second thing that unlocks is visibility to improve your processes and improve your optimizations.
Yeah, it makes me think of, I was at GE in the first part of my career, big into Lean Six Sigma, and that's so much about doing a value stream map, understanding all these different steps in your process, lowering kind of the waterline so you can see where the fault is. And its staffing process is so full of errors and issues, but we don't track all those details because that would be a lot of work. We just try to get back to what's going to get the candidate in. But if you can lower that water level so you can see where all the cracks are, then now you can go and address them so that it doesn't happen in the future.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. One of the things that we think of is a lot about is Shopify versus Amazon. I don't know how familiar you are with that ecosystem, right? I think
I use both.
Yeah, there we go. But like, I think a lot of staffing companies are saying, there's a couple of big players out there, right? They're the Amazons of the space. They got budget for 1,000-person engineering teams and AI orgs, and are they always going to have that advantage? And a lot of people thought that about Amazon when it first started building e-commerce. And then what happened is Shopify came out and they were like, hey, we've got this toolkit. You want to sell what you want to sell. We're going to give you the picks and shovels. We're going to give you everything you need to compete with the big dogs. I think we see ourselves as Shopify, right? We're going to give you that advanced AI, that automation, that tooling that you as a staffing company might be curious about, that's another huge point. And this goes back to the point on the, what is AI? We deploy in under 72 hours. We can sit down with have a conversation and have a pilot scoped out over the weekend and go live, because our view is, real agentic AI, if you're building it the right way, can drive value very, very quickly.
Yeah.
You start off with a very small scope of work. You show, you do an A/B test, you build, you grow, you consult, you engage. And that's, every single client we have has grown exponentially with us.
Yeah.
We've not had a single churn so far. And I think that's a part of that process.
That's great. I mean, that's a very telling statistic. It says a lot about when we talk about AI, it's come up a lot of conversations I've had. It's more about change management than it is about just the technology itself. And it sounds like you built that into your process, which is what makes your customer relationship so sticky.
Yeah, and that's something we, from day one, right? We've got a huge engineering org. We use 4 deploy engineers. Our engineers sit down with the clients. They understand the process. I think you can do so much more now. And when you think about AI, it's not just about the tools, right? It's like an engineer with great AI tools can stitch together integrations 10 times faster than they could have a year ago, right? So you can really be white glove at scale in a way that was inconceivable 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then on the macro level, for us, it really is about, there is such huge transformations happening on the industry level. NVIDIA, Meta, Google, they're spending hundreds of billions of dollars on data centers and model training. Our view is there's a lot of efficiency there. We build our own stack on top of those things. We build our own business process logic. We build our own layers of compliance integration so that it is designed for the staffing industry. And then the beauty of that being set up and the way the industry is evolving is, you're seeing cost of compute going down 80% year on year.
Wow.
And our view is we've repriced our product 3 times this year downwards, because we want to pass that saving down to the customers.
Sure, that's great.
Yeah.
When you think of all these enterprise clients you have, especially they've been around for a while, what are some trends in terms of challenges and opportunities that you see across that group?
It's a really good question. I think it does revert back to what you're saying. So I'd say opportunity. The opportunity is huge. I think a lot of players here that I'm speaking to, they're juggling a pretty messy stack. They might have 16, 18, 20 point solutions. I think everyone is excited by what AI can do, but going back to what I said, some people are a little bit burnt, right? They did a pilot 18 months ago. Going back to what I shared earlier, 18 months ago, what you're paying for is completely different to what you're paying for today.
Yeah.
So, I'd encourage anyone who tried something even 12 months ago to go back to market
give
and
it another
see.
shot. It's very
it might
different.
be 80% cheaper,
Yeah,
and it might be 10 times more powerful, because
Yeah.
that's a rate of change in some of these foundational models. But I think there are people who are a little bit burnt. I think a lot of that comes from the fact that people have not taken a holistic approach to change management.
Yeah.
They've not sat down. They've not put the stakeholders in the room. That's once again where we put our bread and butter in. We're like, we want to assess, we want to understand why you want to do things a certain way. We want to go and take a little bit of work that we think we can add value from, and then on the back of that, grow the relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that, so we talked about the opportunity, that's also the challenge, right? Like getting everyone aligned, getting everyone in the room together. But I think that's how you succeed. That's how you build something that has durable value.
Yeah, you need that cross-functional inclusion and commitment, and that's not always easy to get. But when you start out with that, it's much more. There's much more strategic engagement, and you're gonna improve your likelihood of success.
I think so. And for us, we always keep there's a focus on once again one core metric, and that's time to hire. I think having that laser vision is so critical for us. You got a little logo here. That's an employee being launched into their first day at work. And I think that really makes it, even when we think about our clients and the organizations we work with, right? I think when you can narrow the focus down to what is important, it's getting people fully compliantly set up to start work as soon as the need is. That also helps you get alignment and get people in the room.
Yeah.
Like our long-term vision, is really trying to make labor supply and labor demand match as closely as possible, because in that inefficiency you have all sorts of horror stories. You have people, you have the entire payday lending industry. You have a whole bunch of stuff that I think could be done a lot better.
So you talked about that vision for the future. What's in the near future that you're the most excited about?
Apart from more SIA conferences, no, we're as mentioned, we raised a great round earlier this year. We're ramping up our team aggressively. Just opened up a new office in New York, scaling up sales for anyone who's listening, who's a great sales resource. We've got some great new product features. Like as mentioned, we've got an onboarding agent, compliance agent, AI caller, AI interviewer. We're seeing massive growth with our existing clients who really want something that is not just a point solution, but can own that candidate experience across 4 different touch points and 5 different flows. I think we're probably going to see continued growth as we expand into adjacent industries, but I don't think I'll be sleeping much for the rest of 2025.
You can sleep when you're dead. Come on,
I
man.
can
You'll
sleep
get
on the
there.
plane. There we go. Yeah.
Well, for people that want to learn more about the sales opportunity or learn more about the product or just follow you, where do they go?
So we're on Firstwork at firstwork.com, FIRSTWORK, and then I'm on LinkedIn at Vardhan Kapoor. I probably need to start getting on more social media platforms, but I think for now that's keeping me pretty busy.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, and I'm excited to hear about your growth. I think driving this, getting this out there, that's terrific. Opening the office, that's great. But I'm glad that you're able to get in front of more folks, more enterprise buyers, more staffing agencies, so that they can start leveraging this technology. And it all begins with the pilot, right? It all begins with just starting small and then scaling it from there.
And from my point of view, as if the cheat sheet wasn't enough, I love the space and I love the conversation. So even in the last 2 days, I've already booked sort of 3-4 sessions where I'll be hopping on flights for the next few days, just going to companies, going to their offices and doing like a 3-hour session with their leadership team, I think.
Yeah.
So if any of you guys listening are curious, happy to hop on a flight and say hi.
Hey, that's great. Yeah, bring it to them.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm so glad you were on this podcast with us. I'm glad you had a great experience at SIA, and I'm sure I'll see you at more of these in the future.
Thank you so much, Tony. Looking forward to it. Take care.
Thanks a lot.